go live now because this is a plea. All right. Now this is cause 2020 0D06362. The state of Texas versus Maria Cifuentes. Is that your true and correct name, ma'am?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I believe your date of birth would be 10/20 of 2000.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you recognize your attorney there, Ms. Pages.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Pages, do you recognize your client, Ms. Cifuentes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, I understand there's a plea agreement in this case. Would you like to state it on the record, Ms. Ritchie?
Yes, Your Honor. It is 2 years deferred with drug counseling, urine and breath testing, curfew, a $1,500 fine, 1,000 of that probated, 150 hours community service, and all other standard terms and conditions. We will also be declining an unfiled case, and it is 20-07516 CR.
What kind of case is that?
That is a possession PG1 less than 4 grams.
Possession control substance? How much? Under a gram?
Under 4 grams, Judge.
Under 4 grams. Okay. All right. Now, is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Ms. Pages?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it also your understanding of the plea agreement, Ms. Cifuentes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you understand the plea agreement is not absolutely binding upon me, but should I choose not to follow it, should I choose to be harsher than that, you could withdraw your plea. We could proceed to trial on this matter. But if I follow the plea agreement, it is final. You cannot withdraw your plea. You cannot appeal the case without my consent. You would begin serving that probation immediately. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, we have in front of us some documents marked State's Exhibit 1, the guilty plea waiver forms in this case. They bear the signature of your attorney, the state's attorney, and what appears to be your signature. Did you in fact sign these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you read them before you signed them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand what you were reading and signing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did your attorney further explain to you the meaning of these documents?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any question about their meaning?
No, sir.
So if there's never any question, let me briefly explain primarily 2 things. First, you're coming into court telling me through a judicial confession, yes, Judge, I did commit this offense. And secondly, you're telling me that you understand that you're giving up some valuable rights here today. The most important of these rights is your right to a trial by jury, not only upon the issue of guilt, not guilt, but also upon the issue of any potential punishment. You fully understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding that, then, how do you plead to this charge, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Entering your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily.
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anybody force you, threaten you, coerce you, or in any way make you plead guilty? I'm sorry, you need to respond verbally to that.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Did anybody promise you anything or persuade you in such a manner you felt you had to plead guilty other than the plea agreement stated on the record in open court here this afternoon?
No, Your Honor.
Now, you understand the potential punishment for this offense, I believe. Is this a 3rd degree or 2nd degree?
It's a 2nd degree, Judge.
2nd degree, not less than 2 years, nor more than 20 years in prison. A fine not to exceed $10,000. But instead of putting you in prison, I can place you on probation for any number of years, not less than 2 nor more than 10. You understand I have to sentence you somewhere within those general guidelines.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are a U.S. citizen.
Yes, Your Honor.
And how old are you?
20 years old.
And how far did you go in school?
I just graduated high school in October of 20.
You can certainly read and write the English language.
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you ever been under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist for mental health or mental illness issues?
Yes, Your Honor. When I was a minor in 2017, I was admitted into UPH. I did the program for seven days, and then I was released.
Okay, was there a diagnosis there?
Yes, Your Honor. I was diagnosed with major depression disorder, moderate to severe anxiety, and insomnia.
Okay. Are you presently getting any medications for those?
No, Your Honor.
Do you think you need them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll probably look at that as trying to get you some help in that area too. But as far as your mental state today, do you feel that you are mentally competent? You understand everything that's going on?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and counsel, you've gone over the facts and circumstances of this case, the legal aspects of the case, had time to evaluate your client's mental status.
Yes, Your Honor.
And based on all that, you believe she is mentally competent to enter this plea?
That is correct.
All right. Then based on your representations, Ms. Pages, representations, Ms. Cifuentes, and the court's observations of you in court here today, I find that you are competent to enter the plea. The state may summarize the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. Had the state proceeded to trial in this case, we would have proven each and every element listed in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. And then based on the evidence before the court finds the evidence is sufficient to find the defendant guilty, because we have gone over the more specific details of the case at previous hearings. But I'm not going to find you guilty because this is a deferred plea. What that means is I'm going to wait until some later date to finally adjudicate or decide this case. This is going to be based on your conduct. If you do well on probation, you succeed. If it's 2 years or any time less than that, and the case can be dismissed against you with no finding of guilt, and that might be of some advantage to you, particularly in the future in jobs or educational opportunities that you'd like to pursue. But if you don't do what you're supposed to do, particularly two things, if you go out and commit other offenses, or number two, you stop reporting, you could be brought back before the court. I could then find you guilty if I felt the evidence was sufficient, and then I could sentence you, and I wouldn't be limited to the 2 years. I could sentence you all the way up to 20 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Understanding that, you still want me to grant your motion for deferred adjudication?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then let's go into a little bit. I believe you did not have any criminal history really coming into this incident, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, were you working? Were you employed?
Yes, Your Honor. I was working at a call center as well, off of Railroad. I was working for Spectrum. I was there for about 3 months already before I was brought into custody.
Now, were you living before you were arrested? Were you living with your parent? Who were you living with?
I was actually living on my own in San Elizario.
Living on your own out in San Elizario?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are your plans when you get out now?
Well, I had spoken to my supervisor and my job is still waiting for me. So I want to continue my job, save enough for my car and hopefully get into school.
Okay. But where are you going to, those are good plans, because that's the things you should be doing. Getting back to work, getting into school, trying to pay off your car. But where are you going to live when you get out?
In San Elizario, at my current address, it is 12133 Socorro Road, apartment U. Yeah, San Elizario, 79949.
And so you'll live there by yourself? Is that your plan?
I have a boyfriend that we're sharing it.
Okay. Now, is he the person that you were arrested with, Mr. or was it someone else?
This is somebody new.
Okay. All right. What you'll need to do is talk to the probation officers when you get on probation. Certainly want to make sure that she gets into some kind of special needs so that they can address the mental health issues that she had, that she mentioned, so that she can get some help there. She definitely is asking for it. And so we need to get her some help there. Okay. Now, additionally, the drug that's involved here, methamphetamine, is a very difficult drug to break away from. And so, it's going to take a lot of effort on your part. I don't know how long or what's going on here. And I'm not going to inquire really into it at this point. I'm going to leave that between you and the probation officer to determine what you need to do. But if you need some help in these areas, you need to ask, reach out for help. You're now going to be in a system where we're trying to treat the problems that you've been dealing with. We don't know if they go all the way back to your childhood, or we don't know where they're from. Okay. But you need to be able to deal with those kind of problems, in a more mature way, so that you don't, head off into drugs. I've seen a lot of people that, in fact, most people that get into drug usage, no matter who they are trying to escape something in their past. There's some mental problem, mental pain or anguish, trauma, something that went on, and they're using the drugs, not because they enjoy them, but because they're trying to escape the mental pain of living from day to day. And so you've got to go back and address the underlying problem. And that's what you need to talk to your probation officer about, and what you need to do to try to help yourself through this, okay? You think you're ready to be able to make these adjustments in your life?
Yes, Your Honor. And you said you didn't really want to touch on the subject, but I've been clean off of drugs and of alcohol since I was released, the last time I was arrested.
Okay. Yeah, it's got me thinking, because we're about to, I'm working with another judge. We're about to start a new court with what I would call more youthful offenders, people between the ages of 17 and 23, people who have not, looked into the brain development, have gotten developed as rapidly, and to see what we can do to make sure that they don't continue in the cycle of the criminal justice system. We want them to be able, we're going to put in some really strong resources in that. And I'm looking for, obviously, people that I think would be good candidates for that. And do you think you would like to get into something like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, we will keep you in mind for that, Ms. Pages. Obviously, that wasn't part of the plea agreement, but I think if we get this thing started, probably sometime between now and the first of the year, I think she might be a good candidate for something like that. Do you agree, or?
Yes, Judge. I mean, I don't know what the details of the program are, but if it's something that she's interested in, we can certainly discuss that.
Like I said, we're trying to, it's particularly, we've got two different tracks. One's with high risk people, and another with lower risk people with that have a very minimal criminal history, other people that have a very high criminal history. You keep them in two different tracks, but particularly the ones that have had trouble in the past, lots of trouble, criminal trouble, you use one strategy. For the people that have not had as much criminal trouble, you use a different strategy, but we apply more resources. And we're going to look to, like I said, to the mental health issues, to some of those things, because we've got to find some way to help some of these younger people just stay out of the criminal justice system. It's not good for them, and the sooner we can intervene and help them, the better it is for them, and the better it is for the community. So, all right, well, maybe we'll do that, and we'll talk to you all more about that later. But go ahead and start out on your probation and work hard on it. And I'm sure you can do well, because you've done well in other parts of your life. Okay.
And Judge, if I may, I don't know if the court would be inclined to waive her fines and court costs. She does have an apartment, and she's trying to work and trying to do her drug counseling and stuff. And so just any type of fine.
Sure, I would like her to be able. Yeah, I'm going to waive those, because I know you're probably, one of the things you're probably most worried about are probably your car payments or something, and because you've been in jail now for a while, and you don't want to lose your car, and you want to be able to keep your apartment, and so those are good things. You've got some economic issues on your mind, and I'd rather you use your economic resources to keep some things that are important to you, that you've worked hard to try to get, and I'd like to see you be able to keep those if you can. All right. All right, well, very good. And I'll
Thank
follow
you, Your Honor.
in 2 years deferred, and good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Let's proceed on with Mr. Torres. Is this also one of yours?
It is, Judge, yes.
Let's see, this is cause 2020 0D03457, the state of Texas versus Emmanuel Torres. Is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, sir.
And your date of birth is 10/8 of 1989?
Yes, sir.
And do you recognize your attorney there, Ms. Pages?
No, sir. That's going to be the first time I see her.
Okay, have you been, but have you spoken to her though?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you do know that's the name of your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and Ms. Pages, do you recognize that as your client, or have you not seen him either? So,
No, yes, Judge, I recognize him. That's my client.
okay, so I guess there's a plea agreement here. Would you like to state it on the record, Ms. Ritchie?
Yes, Your Honor. We will be reducing count 1 from a 3rd degree to a state jail. And then both count 1 and count 2 will be a 1244A, 15 days time served. And then we will be dismissing the misdemeanor criminal trespass. That is 2020 0C10045. And then he has 2 P file cases. Those will be declined. And one is a possession of marijuana less than 2 ounces, 2021, P file 06753, and a possession controlled substance less than a gram, PG1, 2021, P file 06754.
All right. All right, is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Ms. Pages?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that also your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Torres?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Torres, you understand the plea agreement is not absolutely binding upon me, but should I choose not to follow it, should I choose to be harsher than that, you could withdraw your plea, we could proceed to a trial on this matter. But if I follow the plea agreement, it is final. It does not look like there'll be any other repercussions, but this will appear on your criminal history. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And I think you do have other issues on your criminal history. And you are aware of that.
Yes, sir.
Now, we have in front of us some documents marked State's Exhibit 1, the guilty plea and waiver forms in this case. They bear the signature of your attorney, the state's attorney, and what appears to be your signature. Did you in fact sign these documents?
Yes, sir.
Did you read them before you signed them?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand what you were reading and signing?
Yes, sir.
Did your attorney further explain to you the meaning of these documents?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any question about their meaning?
No, sir.
So if there's never any question, let me briefly explain to you what they mean. Primarily 2 things. First, you're coming into court telling me through a judicial confession, yes, Judge, I did commit this offense. Secondly, you're telling me, you understand you're giving up some valuable rights here today. The most important of those rights is your right to a trial by jury, not only upon the issue of guilt, not guilt, but also upon the issue of any potential punishment. Do you fully understand that?
Yes, sir.
Understanding that, then how do you plead to this charge, this lesser included charge, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Entering your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody force you, threaten you, coerce you, or in any way make you plead guilty?
No, sir.
Did anybody promise you anything or persuade you in such a manner you felt you had to plead guilty other than the plea agreement stated on the record in open court here this afternoon?
No, sir.
Now, you understand the potential punishment that this offense under 1244A is from, I guess, 1 day to 1 year in the county jail, a fine not to exceed $4,000. You understand I'll sentence you somewhere within those general guidelines.
Yes, sir.
You are a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
And how old are you, sir?
I really don't know, sir. That's 29, 30.
So you're born in 1989, December 8th, is that right?
Yes, sir.
So you'd be about 30 years old, right?
So, yes.
Okay. And how far did you go in school?
I graduated in 3 years.
And you can read and write the English language.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist for mental health or mental illness issues?
Yes, sir.
What kind of problems?
Excuse me?
What?
No, I've never been under the care of a psychiatrist or anything.
Oh, okay. I thought you said yes. You said no, you've never been under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist for mental health issues?
No, sir.
Okay. And you're telling me you are mentally competent, you understand everything that's going on here this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
And counsel, you've had time to go over the facts, circumstances of the case, legal aspects of the case, and had time to evaluate your client's mental status?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And based on all that, are you representing to me you believe he is mentally competent to enter this plea?
That is correct, Your Honor. And just for the record, Judge, his birth date is October 8th of 89.
Right, that's the date I had, October 89. Yes.
Yes.
99, 09, 19 would make him 30 of 20. Maybe 31, right? So, all right. So now, what you feel he is mentally competent to enter this plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then based on your representation, Ms. Pages, your representation, Mr. Torres, the court's observations of you in court, both here today and prior occasions, I find that you're competent to enter the plea. The state may summarize the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor, had the state proceeded to trial in this case, we would have proven each and every element listed in the indictment for both counts beyond a reasonable doubt.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Then the court finds the evidence sufficient to find the defendant guilty under 1244A, and I so find I'm ready to proceed upon the issue of punishment. Let's see. Before you were arrested, were you employed?
Yes, sir.
What were you doing? What kind of work?
As a cook for Chico's Tacos and a cement finisher for Lesna Construction.
So you were a cook and what else?
A cement finisher.
Well, those are both. So that takes, you'd be working a lot. Are you married?
No, sir.
Do you have children?
Yes, sir.
And how many children?
I have 4.
How old are they?
My oldest is 13 and my youngest is 4.5.
And are you supporting them?
Yes, sir.
When you get out, where are you going to live?
I still have my apartment that my mom has been staying with my kids in the Lower Valley.
Okay, so your mom lives there with you?
Actually, I live there with my kids, but since I've been incarcerated, my mom's been staying there with my kids to make them feel still like that they're at home.
Oh, so you were actually living there with your 4 children. You're
Yes.
raising those 4 children. Are you doing it as a single parent?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a hard job.
Yes, very hard, sir.
Let's see. No wonder you're working 2 jobs.
Yes.
So when now once you get out, is your mom going to stay there for a while to help you, or are you just going to be out? Are you just going to be
No,
raising?
she's gonna be helping me taking them back and forth to school while I work, and then when they get out of school, I'll be getting up from my work at Chico's Tacos, and then I'll take care of them for about 8 hours, and then I go back to work, my cement finishing job, get out of there, go back to Chico's, and just keep doing the usual every day.
All right. Well, have you, I imagine it's been hard on your children to be without you for the past almost a month.
Yes, sir.
Have you been away from them that long before?
No, sir, this is the longest I've ever been away from them. And it hurts a lot.
Well, I know it hurts you a lot, but it probably is probably hurting them a lot too. So I mean, that may make you hurt worse than anything,
Yes,
because they really need you.
yes, sir.
And, you know, I don't know what happened here. I know there were some drugs in the car and some things, and, you know, and with some of the things that's happened to you in the past, you know, thank goodness they didn't ask for a more sentence or anything. But the next time, you know, you'd probably be facing some real prison time. And then you'd be separated from those children for a longer period of time. And that would be very difficult.
There is no next time, sir.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. No next time.
No more.
Going back to work, and you're going to support those children and be the dad that they need, because apparently they don't have, the mother's not in their life, or what's going on there.
No, she is, but she uses them as a check, as financial stability, and I don't approve of that. And she asks me for them only when she needs money, or whenever she feels that it's okay to ask for them. And either way, I still let her see them, because I grew up without parents. I grew up in the foster care system, so I know how hard it is for a child to be that way.
Oh, well, then you understand more than almost anyone the necessity of having parents that and people that care for you.
Yes, sir.
Present. And don't deprive your children of that. Obviously, they look to you as probably the main person in their life. So,
Yes, sir.
all right. Well, so you've got a tremendous incentive never to get back in the criminal justice system again.
No, sir.
All right. Well, very good. Well, I'm going to follow the recommendation. It's a time served plea, and it looks like all the other cases have been resolved, and you should be out of jail soon, back with your family. And I hope how are the kids doing in school? I mean, in the past, like last year and that kind of stuff. The ones that are.
My two oldest ones are straight A students. My middle one, my daughter, second to smallest one, just graduated from pre-K and now is in first grade. And my smallest daughter, she just went into pre-K.
Well, that one that's 13 is getting into the age area where sometimes that parenting gets even harder in the teenage years.
Yes.
So that's going to be very challenging. And so
Yes.
It's good that your mom's helping you some. So good. Good luck to you, sir. I hope it all works out.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And let's see, and Mr. Welch has just come in right at the time that we had his case.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Valenzuela next.
Yes, sir.
All right. This is cause number, I guess there's two causes here. Oh, no, now there's just one, because the one case is dismissed. Cause 2020-00346, the state of Texas versus Joshua Jose Valenzuela. Is that your true and correct name, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your date of birth, 11/23 of 1985.
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you recognize your attorney there, Mr. Welch?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Mr. Welch, do you recognize your client there, Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes, that's him, Your Honor.
All right. Now, I believe this is a case where we have a plea agreement. Would you like to state it on the record, Ms. Ritchie?
Yes, Your Honor, it is 5 years deferred, a $1,000 fine, 150 hours community service, urine and breath testing, curfew, no contact with the complaining witness, and all other standard terms and conditions.
All right. And is that your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Welsh?
It is, Your Honor.
Is it also your understanding of the plea agreement, Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Now, you understand the plea agreement is not absolutely binding upon me, but should I choose not to follow it, should I choose to be harsher than that, you could withdraw your plea and we could proceed to a trial on this matter. But if I follow the plea agreement, it is final. You cannot withdraw your plea. You cannot appeal this case. You would begin serving that program immediately. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Now, we have in front of us some documents marked State's Exhibit 1, the guilty plea and waiver forms in this case. They bear the signature of your attorney, the state's attorney, and what appears to be your signature. Did you in fact sign these documents?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Did you read them before you signed them?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand what you were reading and signing?
Yes, Your Honor. My attorney discussed.
Did your attorney further explain to you the meaning of these documents?
Yes, he has.
Do you have any question about their meaning?
No, Your Honor, I don't. I completely asked my questions while on the phone with him.
Okay, and so what they mean primarily is two things. First, you're coming into court telling me through a judicial confession, yes, Judge, I did commit this offense, or I was involved in the commission of this offense as a party under the laws of the state of Texas. And secondly, you're telling me that you understand that you're giving up some valuable rights here today. The most important of those rights is your right to a trial by jury, not only upon the issue of guilt, not guilt, but also upon the issue of any potential punishment. Do you fully understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Understanding that, how do you plead then to this charge? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you entering your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anybody force you, threaten you, coerce you, or in any way make you plead guilty?
No, Your Honor.
Did anybody promise you anything or persuade you in such a manner you felt you had to plead guilty, other than the plea agreement stated on the record in open court here this afternoon?
No, Your Honor, nobody has.
Now, you understand the potential punishment for this offense. That is a second-degree felony, punishable by not less than 2 years nor more than 20 years in prison, a fine not to exceed $10,000. But instead of putting you in prison, I can place you on probation for any number of years, not less than 2 nor more than 10. You understand I'll sentence you somewhere within those general guidelines?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
You are a U.S. citizen?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 35.
And how far did you go in school?
I graduated high school and went to 2 years of community college.
Well, you can certainly read and write the English language, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, I can.
Have you ever been under the care of a psychiatrist or psychologist for mental health or mental illness issues?
I have not until entering the annex.
Okay, so you have been under the care of some recently?
Yes, I have.
What kind of issues have you been diagnosed with?
Your Honor, I have not been diagnosed for anything yet. Upon releasing, I am due to check into EHN Network Center somewhere on Montana. And I have joined the reentry program here at the annex, and they had told me that I will be seeing a psychologist.
Okay, do they presently have you under any medications?
Yes, they do.
Okay, are those medications helping you?
Yes, they are.
Are they helping you to such a degree that you believe you are mentally competent to understand everything that's going on here today?
Yes, I do understand everything that is going on.
All right. And counsel, you've had time to go with the facts and circumstances of the case, the legal aspects of the case, and had time to evaluate your client's mental status.
I have, Your Honor.
Based on all that, are you representing to me you believe he is mentally competent to enter this plea?
I believe him to be mentally competent to enter the plea, Your Honor.
All right. Then based on your representation, Mr. Welsh, your representation, Mr. Valenzuela, and the court's observations of you in court here today, I find that you are competent to enter the plea. The state may summarize the evidence.
Yes, Your Honor, had the state proceeded to trial in this case, we would have proven each and every element listed in the indictment beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay. And based on the evidence before the, any objection to the evidence?
There will be no objection to the evidence. Thank you, Your Honor.
Then the court finds the evidence sufficient to find the defendant guilty, but I am not finding you guilty because this is a deferred plea. That means that I will wait until some later date to finally adjudicate or decide your case. That's going to be based on your conduct. And if you do well on probation, whether it takes 5 years or less, depending on how you do, if you complete it successfully, the case against you is dismissed with no finding of guilt. And hopefully that would be of some advantage to you in your job or educational pursuits that you may have in the future. On the other hand, though, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, if you violate the terms and conditions of your probation, you commit other offenses, you stop reporting, then the court could revoke that deferred status, find you guilty, and then sentence you all the way up to 20 years in prison. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor, I do completely.
Understanding that, you still want me to grant your motion for deferred adjudication?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Okay. Now let's, and one of the main reasons why I think they've gone for a probated sentence was the evidence in the case showed that while there was a gun involved in the case, it was not you who had the gun in the case directly, as I recall. The evidence, is that correct, Mr. Welsh and Ms. Ritchie?
Yes, Your Honor, the charge against my client is as a party. He was not the actor, but
Right. In fact,
he was with him.
When I described the case with him, it was on a plea, it was as a party to the offense. Okay. Now, were you working before this happened?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Have you ever had jobs or anything?
Yes, Your Honor, I
What kind
did.
of work have you done in the past?
I was with the union here in El Paso, the local 263 iron workers. We erect steel and do structural welding as well as a AAC diesel mechanic. And in the process of getting my CDL back, no more than 25,000 pounds I'll be hauling.
All right. Well, it looks like you should be able to get a good job when you get out. Do you think so?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a few references I can refer back to and see if they are hiring. If they are, it would be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I would probably have to come back to the courtroom and ask to get transferred if the opening is still there at Savage Transport.
Okay. Well, if you get yourself a really good job like that in Tulsa or in Oklahoma, yes, come see, you understand the system. You would have to come back. Don't just leave. I could transfer that probation. We would try to make a transfer for you. But obviously in these days and times, there is a great need for anybody that has special skills like in iron work or, driving trucks, things like that. So if you've got some special skills, I'm sure you'd be very employable.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you married or do you have any children?
Yes, Your Honor, I have 3.
Did you say you were married or were not?
I got divorced 5 years ago.
Okay, but you do have 3 children.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
How old are they?
16, 12, and 10.
And had you been supporting them?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
And were you having an active relationship with them, seeing them?
Yes, during holidays, occasional, and when I became a resident at an apartment, I needed to be stable in order for my children to come over to my home or apartment.
And so now where are you going to live when you get out now?
Right now, the reentry program with Mr. Art, he is going to personally escort me to the Indigo Hotel in Mesa, where they will be responsible for housing me for 2 weeks. Upon that, I need to find a job and comply with the reentry program as well as my probation.
Well, it looks like you've given your rehabilitation and getting back in society, some good thought.
Yes, I have.
Some people don't have any plan, but you've got a good plan. Now you just have to execute on it, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I will.
All right. Well, good luck to you, and I will follow the recommendation then, 5 years deferred probation, and good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right.
Please don't let this opportunity pass you by, Mr. Valenzuela.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Ortiz?
should we, yes, do we include a screen for mental health services on the conditions of probation?
Well, they've got to go into EHN, so I would think
He's already enrolled himself.
it looked like he's self-enrolled. Just make sure officers know that he's in this, what is it, the reentry program, and also supposedly participating with EHN to go see them. Because we want to make sure he gets his medications.
Right.
I think that's going to be very important. All right. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else? We can, okay, well, thank you, Mr. Welch. You may be
Thank you.
excused.
Thank you, Judge.
All
Okay.
right. I think the next case up was, we had Mr. Caudill. And I think this is not this is just some form of a status hearing. Who's the attorney for Mr. Caudill? Is it Mr. Rago?
I show Mr. Mondragon.
Mondragon. Okay, because I saw that Mr. Rago was in here earlier. Who is his client?
Celestine Douglas.
Oh, okay, because I had the public defender on that one. So that's going to be Mr. Rago. Got it.
And Judge, we don't need a bond hearing on that. I spoke with Miss Ritchie yesterday, and she's going to get me some stip papers so we can get to him and we can set it for a plea of truth.
Oh, okay. Very good.
At the Indigo Hotel in Mesa, but I don't know the card. I don't know the number address to it. Art had all the information.
All right, well, then maybe we can get that set up. If he is, let's see, who are we looking at right now? Is that Mr. Caudill or is that Mr. Celestine?
Caudill, Judge.
Caudill. Okay, is Mr. Mondragon on?
No, sir.
I don't see him. Maybe we need to get him on there right away. And so if we have Mr. Caudill stand back for just a moment. And then I'll talk very briefly to Mr. Celestine so that you can explain to him, Mr. Rago, that what we're doing here. Mr. Celestine's on probation, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, and so these are probation issues.
Your Honor, who did you want to see?
I guess Mr. Celestine.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Celestine, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Moody.
Okay, I don't know if you can see your attorney there, Mr. Rago. He's present here this afternoon. That's
Okay.
your new attorney.
Yes, sir.
And apparently he has just told me that he has been in contact with the state's attorney
Yes, sir.
and they've been discussing your case. And I believe they may have been able to come up with a resolution of the case, or at least a recommendation for you. I'm not going to discuss it here on in front of you, but I will certainly make sure that Mr. Rago gets a hold of you so that you all can discuss it, or because I don't want to it's not necessary to discuss it, with the state being present or myself. It's better between the two of you. So,
Your Honor, Judge Bowie, we actually discussed it yesterday.
oh, okay, you all have both discussed it, so you've got it worked out?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, then probably what'll happen is we will come back we'll get some papers ready for next week and we will resolve it next week.
Yes, sir.
So I just wanted to make sure that you knew what was going on and that you were aware of everything that was proceeding, okay? All right, very good. Did you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, well, take care of yourself. Good luck. We'll see you next week. Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor. May I be excused?
you may.
Thanks, Ms. Ritchie. You all take care.
Okay, did we find Mr. Modrigon? I think we can go off live now.